G'day everyone, welcome back to Blue Abroad. This is your weekly dose of footy in the Jumper Punch. I'm joined by my esteemed colleague of all things footy and rants, Rocco. How are you doing, mate?
Hey, how we going, Pom? How's everyone out there? And what a week it's been in the Carlton Football Club. Yeah, it's been a massive week.
I tell you what, yeah, it's been a very big week. Men have returned, women win. It's been a great week. It has been a great week.
It's been a great week. There's been wins, there's been losses, there's been great performances, there's been standout players, there's been suspensions, there's also been injuries. Like I'm telling you, you can't get any better than this week.
I mean, it's had it all. It's had it all. I've got to say, though, the week has been okay, but it hasn't been as good as Rangers. Finally. Win the title. We got our title back from the dirty scum.
I was going to wait till the end, but you couldn't even wait till the end to talk about your beloved Rangers. Let's talk about your beloved Rangers just for a second. They won the title just last night, wasn't it? Last night they won the title.
Yeah, I'm still suffering from lack of sleep. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's big for you, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, a decade of watching Celtic win it every year. So. Back where it belongs, 55th title.
Yeah.
We're back in the top of the tree, 10 years of pain, bit like Carlton. So hopefully my sides around the world are starting to win. So Carlton come off the rank.
I was going to say it is very similar to the Carlton road to success, wasn't it? Because a few years ago, similar path, and then all of a sudden this year they broke out, and really they've been undefeated all year, haven't they?
Yeah, we've gone through a period of 4 years of changing coaches, changing philosophy, trying to build something. Stuck with a no-name coach in Steven Gerrard, prestigious career but untested as a coach. Backed him in, and he had a game style. We believed in the game style, and here we are. We're back.
That's unreal. And I want you to tell me what the fans have organised for the Celtic Rangers game. Tell me, you told me this, and this is, I love this. What did they arrange?
Bought a plane. They bought a plane just with James Tavernier, our captain. In the year, Celtic said basically they don't see a challenge from Rangers this year, and he scored a goal, and he went like that in a reference of, can you see us now? So They flew around the stadium with that. All the fans chipped in to pay for it. So as Celtic played Dundee last night, they just got to see that plane circling on a loop.
I love it. I get ready, Blue supporters, because we're all chipping in. Because when we win it this year, we're going to be doing exactly the same thing, mate. Can you see us now?
Can you see us now? So yeah, that's the new catchphrase down at Ibrox Park. Can you see us now? So. Very similar to Carlton as well in the terms of we've been talking about we're coming a lot. We're going to be there. We're coming. Watch out. And now the hashtag is, can you see us now? Because we've finally done it. So that should be Carlton's mantra. Can you see us now? Hopefully we get to see that.
Don't worry, mate. Everyone's going to be seeing us, mate. We're going to be right there, mate. Everyone's going to see exactly what we're about this year. Yeah.
Well, I mean, talking about Carlton and talking about can you see us now, the AFLW happened this week. It was a must-win game for the girls. And we finally got the win, didn't we? We got back on the winners' podium. And the girls got the win. So what did you think of that? It was a tough game, but they controlled it well, didn't they?
It was a good game. I'm really impressed the way the girls are playing, man. Like they play some really good football, and when they're on, they are on. And look, I watched the start of the game, and the first couple of minutes there, first 3 or 4 minutes, I was thinking, oh no, here we go again. Another goalless quarter. Geelong haven't won a game. They scored the first goal, but in comes Vesio, 2 goals in 2 minutes. Gibbs kicks the first goal. Playing from attack scores a goal. Man, we scored 4 goals in the first quarter, and that was like I don't know, that's the first time we've done that, I think, in ever, really. It was just amazing start after those first couple of minutes.
It was interesting because the first quarter scores this year for the Carlton girls was 0-2, 1 goal 0, 0-0, 0-2, and 0-0. So you can see that the girls have put a lot of pressure on themselves from the start.
Yeah.
So very impressive that they really acquitted themselves really well. I thought what impressed me in that was they maintained their game plan from start to finish.
Yeah.
When I've watched the first quarters in the first 5 games, they kind of default to try something else.
Yeah.
And it's not quite working, and then they start to allow the other team to kind of become more reactive. I thought it was very good that they had that first goal conceded. They kept their heads down and said, look, we can still do this. We'll just play our way. And once the floodgates opened, once Vesio found that breakthrough, I kind of felt the girls were never troubled throughout the game.
No. After Vesio scored those 2 goals, and they were opportunist goals, the first one she took a good mark, the next one, and then, yeah, you're right. They never looked like they were going to lose it from that point. And it, like the next quarter, they again, good start. There was heaps of entries, you know what I mean? Maddie being back was huge. You can see the influence she puts across that team. It's amazing, man. She actually hurts her elbow and doesn't come back. But as soon as she comes back, you could see the difference in the side, And we just absolutely, in that first half, I mean, disposals were about 60 disposals up. Inside 50s were 19-12. It was an absolute dominance. Stoppage in the first quarter was 7-1. They just showed their dominance, and everyone was doing their little bit. It was a really, really good first half, really good start.
I think for Carlton as well, I think what was really impressive in this game was not just the performance, but also when Maddie went off, Egan really did step up into that role and offer something. I also thought it was a nice thing to see Carlton's girls space their scoring as well, because we had multiple goal scorers. And also, everyone seemed to chip in and buy into it. It was almost what we wanted last week with Maddie away. We wanted everyone to buy into the philosophy. It was good to see everyone buy into that philosophy, because nearly half our team finished over 15 touches that game. So they all really bought into the ethos of it.
It was they really all played well, and you're going to see later what I mean by that. And then in the second half, it just continued on. There was goals from Pound, and Maddie kicks a goal. You know what I mean? And the defence really stepped up in that second half. Really stepped up. People like Egan and Harrington and Wilson really took control, and they were probably the better players in that second half, and that's what made it such a good win at the end. It was just an even contribution to the whole side. Yeah.
I mean, it was impressive as well having no Taylor Harris. That was the heavy out for Carlton. She was managed. Hasn't really been in the greatest of form last 2 weeks. And it was quite interesting to see that the forward line did seem to function more to the benefit of our talented smalls, because they had to get really creative.
Yeah, and I was going to mention that. I got that written down here. Taylor Harris not being there as much as we want her there, I don't know. They seem to have functioned a little bit better. They spread out the load. They weren't really bombing it in, you know what I mean? They were lowering their eyes a little bit. A couple of people stepped up, and one of them was second gamer, Gibbs. She looks really, really good up in the forward line there, kicks the 2 goals, you know what I mean? So, I don't know. We naturally want Harris back, but I think it's done a lot of good, Harris being out, showing what the team can do without her.
I think it was important to me because I call it the Levi Casbolt effect. Yeah. When you've got a dominant tall that is quite physical and that is a good marking forward like Taylor is,
Yeah.
I sometimes think midfield's default to kick to them all the time. So, like, you look 2017 Carlton, we just used to set it up on centre half forward where Levi was. And I think the girls sometimes default to that as well. When they see Taylor, they're like, kick it to her. But this week, you saw more lower kicks to run onto. You saw more intricate 1-2s on the edge of 50. Work it out a little bit. So hopefully Taylor is back next week.
Yeah.
Hopefully next week they bring this, because if you can space Taylor and not make it so obvious, she is a valuable asset to these girls.
100%. 100%. And I understand that when they're under pressure, what are you going to do? You're going to kick to the big person up the front. You know, you're going to kick to the big man up the front. And I can understand that's what happens. You know what I mean? But being that also is somewhat dangerous for your side, man, because it become too predictable, and now it hasn't, you know. So now, as you said, if they can be smart about this, we've got the smalls, you've got the Vesio, you've got Stevens, you know, now Gibbs is stepping up, you've got a couple of others kicking goals, Maddie, some of the midfielders, and Harris is that one person who can take the big mark, but doesn't necessarily have to be the only target, you know. So, look, it was a really good performance, and it was a good performance. The only souring point was one of our favourite girls, Mimi, she got injured. So I haven't really heard anything today, but hopefully it's not as bad as we first thought.
Yeah, Mimi Hill. So the club did release an injury update not too long ago, so you probably missed this.
Yep.
She underwent a scan, and she will see a surgeon on Tuesday to determine the best course, but it does look like it's a season-ending injury. She's ruptured her ACL in her left knee. So Mimi Hill was top 3 in my BNF. Yeah. She was my girl, and she's out. God bless her.
Yeah, that's it, because she's really showed a lot. She's a really good player, and unfortunately, she's going to miss out the rest of the season. But hopefully they get on top of that and she's back next year. But so that was the only souring point about that whole game, you know what I mean? So Mimi, you know, all the best and best of recovery,
We love you, Mimi, and she'll be back in 2022 to hopefully lead the girls to their second consecutive flag, because finals is still alive, Rocco.
Still alive, mate. It's unbelievable, but it's still alive. They've got to keep winning. So every games are going to be an elimination final, but it is what it is. You know what I mean? But they've given themselves a big chance, and we've got Fremantle this week, I think. Anyway, we got Fremantle this week, haven't we?
Yeah, we have,
Yeah. All right. So still a chance, and I still believe that they can make the finals. And then from there, you don't know what's going to happen.
Never know. It's a lottery. Let's get down to the votes. So as we were talking about the game, you will have seen our round-by-round votes. Yeah. But there is also a double-up available. You get 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 for performing throughout the game. So I suppose we'll keep with tradition. I've been going first all the time, so I'll keep doing it. I'll keep doing it. So I'll go in reverse order this week. So I gave 1 vote to Elise O'Day.
Nice.
I was a big fan of her game, particularly in the second half. I thought she really used a muscle wow, and I'll love a little bit of Elise, gotta say.
That's nice. I like
2
it.
votes went to our favourite Darcy Vesio.
Oh, that's good. So everyone knows, I don't know the votes here. So this is like very good. You're very good.
3 is Harrington. I thought she was phenomenal.
All right. Yeah.
4 votes goes to Egan.
All right.
And 5 votes, obviously, goes to Maddie Prasparkis. Returned like a demon. Good. Obviously now we'll just quickly check my top 3 as they come up on the screen for you guys. That means Prasparkis leads the way on 57, Egan 29, and Mimi Hill 19 on 3rd. But someone should usurp her, you'd imagine, by the end of the year.
Yeah, so that's good. That's pretty good.
Let's see Rocco's.
All right, I like that. And yours are pretty close, but like you said to me, they were close, but they were just in the wrong order. So we'll what I did was we'll start with one. I gave one vote, and this could have been given to many players as the one vote usually is, but you've got to pick someone. I gave one to Gibbs. I thought getting her 2 goals, she was really good. And from last week, she only had like a few possessions. And this week she really, really stepped up. So I gave her 1 vote. I gave 2 to Vesio. We were the same there, so that was good. But I gave 3 to Egan. I thought Egan was a good player. And I gave 4 to Harrington. I thought Harrington was the rock solid of the defence. And 5, well, do we have to say it? Maddie comes in. She just comes back, picks up 5 votes without even thinking about it. I'm telling you, she got suspended, so she's not going to win it again this year, but she is above everybody. She's such a good player.
She's a superstar. She can do it all. And I mean, she did it with 1 arm for half the game as well.
She's a superstar, man. I'm telling you, I don't want to say it, but very Diesel-like, very Diesel-like.
It's a shame we can't clone her and throw her into the men's.
Mate, I'm telling you, she's always at the ball. She's hunting the ball. She's at every contest. Like, she's not the most, how do you say, athletic looking type person, but like, she's at one contest and the ball goes 30 meters down and they have a ball up and there she is again, And to me, that reminds me of the Diesel. He used to always say that the more contests you get, the more disposals you can get. You know what I mean? And that's what she does, man. She just seems to be everywhere and she's always hunting it. She's a star. She's already a star after 2 years.
She's a phenomenal footballer, and we are privileged to have a player like Madison Prastakis playing for the football club. And obviously, it gives her a chance to win her medallion back next year, because obviously there'll be another girl wearing it, but they'll only be the paper champ. We know who the real champ is.
The real champ is. That's it, Matty. We love you.
And from champs to chumps, we've got the umpires' votes.
Yeah.
And then the coaches' votes. So start us off, Rocco. What did you think of the coach this week? We'll start positive and finish negative.
Right. Yeah, we'll go positive and then we'll go to the negative, of course. No, the coach, he actually did a good job. From last week, you can see that he made a big difference. We had no Harris, so he's kind of changed it around. Gibbs in the forward line, McKay's playing a lot in the middle now, you know what I mean? And she's doing really good. Like, I'm really impressed with McKay too. So I gave him 7.5, and I reckon half was because of his presses. I really like his presses. He's very confident out there, isn't he? You look at his presses, he's very confident. He's built up a lot. He looks like he's ready to take them on himself, So I like the coach. I gave him 7.5. I think it was a really good performance by him.
I love it. No, I love it. I agree with you. I gave him 8 as well. So 7.5. You work in decimals. I round up. But I gave him an 8. No, I thought it was a bold decision to leave Taylor out. She was managed, but I see that more as a posh way of saying sit this one out and work on something. So I thought that was a bold decision, and I thought that we finally fixed the first quarter as well. Obviously, that must have been a dream for Hartford to actually do a first quarter team talk and not say any chance you want to start playing footy. So I thought all in all it was good. They controlled the game. They looked good. And obviously, Geelong aren't the hardest team to beat, but it was a good standing to set you up for the games that matter in the next couple of weeks. So a lot of confidence going in, I'd say now.
In Geelong, you're right. They haven't won a game, but you still got to beat them. And he did. So, good performance by Daniel Harford. Good job. Keep it up, man. I'm happy with the bloke, yeah?
Yeah, and then what about the umpires? What did you think of them? Surely they get a 10 because we won.
Well, listen to this. I was going to give them about a 6, right? And then that last quarter, some of those decisions in that last quarter were disgraceful. They just lost the plot. They went downhill again. They shit themselves. So I've given them a 4. I've given them a 4 because how many umpires are on the ground? Like 3. Oh, there's probably more than that. But I gave them a 4, right? Because that's all they deserved. And I'll give you one little stat that the free kicks were 12-21 in their favour. So that's just wrong in itself. So anyway, that gets a 4 because I think you're a bunch of cheats. No, they're not a bunch of cheats. No. So I'll give them a 4 just for showing up. How's that sound?
You see, I got told off on my live stream for the St Kilda because I cracked it at the umpires and called one of them an effing cheat.
You can't do that. You can't do that. They're
Trust
not
me, anyone out there watching, honestly, you are totally fine. Ignore the AFL. Your Uncle Pom gives you a seal of approval. Once you sign the paperwork to be an umpire, expect the abuse. And being called a cheat is not what I deem abuse. If it's personal, yes. But
we don't mean they're a cheat. We just mean they're a cheat against us.
But these umpires get a 1 because it was blatant cheating. Absolutely honestly, absolute disgrace. Do you know what I mean? The rule book of the AFL is not that complicated. There is 5,000 different interpretations of any segment.
Was terrible, man. I'm telling you, it was.
And I, for one, am sick of watching Carlton women games and seeing a tackle paid as holding the ball, and then 7 tackles not paid as holding the ball. You know, I'm sick of them going to chat to each other with the most basic of decisions. It's absolutely balmy. Honestly, from now on, the POM will give 1 vote every week until someone rattles their individual brain cell together and come up with being on the same page. Because at the moment, it's like you know when you're at work and one of the bosses goes on holiday, so suddenly you've got like the marketing manager, sales manager, and the administrative manager, and they're all overseeing an area that they have no idea about, but all 3 of them have different philosophies, and you have no idea what to do.
And that's how I see the game.
Yeah, you get Shirley come in, the sales manager, and she's all right. You make her a cup of tea and you can do what you want, have a couple of smokers. But then Brian from admin, he wanted to be sales manager, but he's not good enough, so he's admin. And he's an authoritarian. He just wants you to do everything. Do it now. It's absolutely mad. Come on, umpires, sort it out. They make you mad.
I love it. We had to get the umpires to get you revved up. I love it. I'm disappointed I gave him a 4 now. I'm fucking disappointed I gave him a 4. I can't believe it. I should have given him a 1. I wanted to give him less. Jesus.
We decked them out in fluoro green because they are so stupid. Don't behave like the colour of your kit. Come on, umpires, sort it out. I want consistency.
That's all we ask for. That's all we are. We're just simple men. We just want consistency. I love it.
What worries me, though, is we've got the men's game where they brought in this standing on the mark rule, which sounds complicated. And if they can't get basics right in the women's game, it's going to happen when we're playing a grand final in front of 100,000 people.
Mate, we're going to have to do a show, right? Forget about the jumper mate. We're going to have to do a show just on the decisions during the year because I can already see it. We're going to be talking about decisions constantly, and it upsets me. We shouldn't. You know, in the 70s and 80s, I didn't even know there were umpires on the ground. There was no, we never even noticed them. There was just it was. Now it's just, anyway, let's listen. We've given them enough airtime. Let's get on to the next subject. Forget about the umpires.
So, from things that piss Pom off to things that make me happy, we've got the player focus and the Pom's play of the day. And as you can see, due to having too much time on my hands because I broke my foot, we've got a sexy new graphic for it. So, as you can see here, we're looking at Grace Egan, and she's our player profile this week. I thought she was phenomenal. I could have gone Maddie, yes, but I thought spread the load. And you can see she was industrious for her 24 touches, 1 mark and 4 tackles. She was everywhere in the final third.
Yeah, she was. I'm telling you, like, I've given her a vote. She could have easily got almost best on grade. And you're right with Egan. Just have a look at the graphics there. Look at the way she just spreads all over the ground. She's getting possessions everywhere. But she actually stepped up soon as Maddie went off. She stepped up, and if you see from the second quarter onwards, she just stepped right up. So Egan has become really good player this year, man. She's really stepped up. So yeah, that is a good little graphic there.
I really enjoy her game. Yeah, she's her and G as well. Like they have an uncanny knack of just really supporting Maddie.
Yeah,
I'm enjoying Grace Egan's game, and a lot will rely on Grace Egan, I think, in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, 100%. Well, yeah, 100%. No, she's a really, and she stands out with her red hair there. She stands out. So, yeah, no, that's good. That's good.
I've got to say, yeah, you notice, and she wears the number 1 as well.
Yeah.
Which keep that in mind, because we are a bit biased on this show.
Coming up. Keep that in mind.
We are a bit biased on this show with number 1s.
Actually, there's a bit of talking about the number 1 through the whole show tonight. You'll see.
They've taken the number 1 has taken over player focus, and my play of the day was Darcy Vessio's first goal in the first quarter. So as you can see, Carlton played it into the forward pocket down the right, and Vessio really just has that uncanny knack. She hung out the back there, took the uncontested mark, and it might not be the greatest goal she's ever scored, but I thought it was a moment that needed brilliance, and she has the ability to be brilliant. And I thought if we didn't kick that goal then, I think we would have lost that game.
100%, man. And she's got that, she knows where the ball drop's going to be. So you could see her, man. She just pushed off at the right time. She took off, and you're right. That goal was so important, because then a minute later she kicks the second one and we're on our way, So Vessio, since I gave her the should have stayed home, she's actually done really good. So yeah, she's really, really important to us. And she's not there for the whole game, but she's there for parts of the game, but she's so important in those particular parts of the game, yeah?
Oh, 100%. And talking about should have stayed at home, who are you keeping at home this week?
All right, so they should have stayed at home. To tell you the truth, I'm going to, because it's my segment, I can do whatever I want, yeah? I could not pick anyone to stay at home this week. So I said nobody. Even Downey, right, who had only 6 or 7 possessions or whatever she had, she got concussed or whatever she got hit, and she come back on and she took a great mark. I really couldn't pick anyone. So this week, no one's staying at home. But then I just quietly wrote something while we were talking. The umpires, they should have stayed home, the umpires. But as far as the Blue Girls, no one should have stayed home. So this week, no one should have stayed home.
Oh no, I love that. I can get around that. Around that. Long may it continue. That Rocco's segment is there.
I hope so, man. If I say nobody's staying at home for the rest of the year, we're winning premierships. That's what it's all about. It's a team game.
And I suppose now we go to my favourite segment is this up next, because I watched the Fremantle girls. I did a little review of them for my own channel, and I watched it quite intently because I'm a big fan of Gemma Houghton, and Carlton girls have to go up against, in my opinion, probably the best, most dominant forward in this competition in Houghton. Once she gets off the leash, she's dangerous. Bowers and Antonio, they're midfield magnets. So real tough game this, and it's a must-win game. But you've got to beat the best to be the best. So great test for them.
It is a big test, and they're playing well. And as you said, she's a great forward. And look, we've got a good defence in both sides, the men's and the women's. Our defence is one of our strengths, So as a unit, I think they can do it. But you're right, it's a must win. They have to win. They want to play final. It's an elimination final every week now. So yeah. So it's a must win, and it's a big test. And if we can get over this hurdle, I think, man, they're well on their way. Well on their way.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you. And I mean, like for me as well, a good bit of news is Brooke Walker is rumoured to return next week as well. So
Yep.
she's been out for a while, and obviously, as you know, she's got that speed, class, very good user of the football. And if you are going to beat a team like Fremantle, it has been demonstrated transitional football from Harrington using people like Walker's speed is one of their weaknesses. So huge test for the girls. They play next week, Sunday, again, because the AFL hates us and we have to play at obscene times. So
worry, mate. We'll be playing every Friday night soon, mate. They won't want us off that screen. Trust me.
Well, big game for the girls, so get around it. If you can't get to the game, get behind a TV, cheer them home, and get these girls into the finals, because I want the girls to beat the boys to a final.
100%. Show them the way, as they normally do. The wives and girlfriends normally show us the way, so this is what the girls
100%. And Kate Simpson deserves a medallion. So
yes.
Get bloody Kate a medallion for me.
That be? How ironic would that be? That would be fantastic. Yeah, this is exactly what I want to say. Come on, girls, let's do it this week.
And talking about boys that owe Kate Simpson a medallion, the boys finally returned to semi-competitive action in the Amy, great ad, by the way, that song gets stuck in my head all the time, Community Series game against my wife's team, St Kilda, and they went down by 26. But there was positive signs, wasn't there, Rocco?
Plenty of positive signs. First of all, that's the first male AFL game I've been to in, I don't know how long now, like 12, 14 months, whatever it's been, and it was amazing going there. I was just stunned. I just walked out. I couldn't believe it. I kept saying to my son, look at this, man. We're at the footy, and then we sat down and the ground looked fantastic. And then the crowd was up and there was banter and there was the booing. And it was amazing. I didn't even worry about the result. I was just so happy to be there and so happy to see the boys play a really good brand of footy. I was really happy the way they played. There was plenty of positives, what I saw on Thursday night, and I'm stoked, man. Heaps of players stood up. They continued on from the previous week. There were big goals. People stood up, man. It was a great contest.
It was, and I think I will say this. I know there was a few people disappointed, and I have heard the phrase, same old Carlton. But I think there's something different about this group. And one thing I'll say is I believe we're playing so high up. So I think a lot of them goals were attributed to David Teague's insistence on forward pressure. And I think if you actually watch our last two games, very reminiscent of pre-season against Collingwood last year, where he specifically gave the instruction, because he was in front of me in the quarter-time huddle, to say, play more, risk it all. It's the defence starts with the forwards. You guys stay on the halfway, and if they don't make the tackle, a goal is conceded. And I don't think either side was going too hard. I think when you look at the breakdown of stats team-wise, there's a lot of positives there. We nearly kicked 100 without anyone who was tall. And so to me, I think I was excited. I was more excited than I was disappointed. I think there's a lot of signs there that show that this side, and I implore all Carlton fans to believe this, there is a segment later where I implore a bit more, but believe in this group, because they've definitely changed. There is something different about this group. I can't tell you what it is, but it is.
You know what it is? It's what you're just throwing out to everybody there. It's that confidence. It's that confidence. You know what I mean? I still think, and we'll talk about this later, they're almost there, but the confidence is huge now because they're playing, like, to tell you the truth, the way St Kilda plays is the way we want to play, and we're almost there, but they're just like perfected it just a little bit better because they were running forward, balls, like they were getting balls from behind, you know what I mean? They were confident in their teammates in the contest. You know, they were hard at the contest. You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, we did that too. Apart from, if you take away the first couple of goals and the last 4 goals, we would have won by 2 goals. You know what I mean? Like, there was just these little lapses, but there was a period there in the middle of the game in the third quarter where we kicked 4 out of the 5 goals, you know. So I'm with you, man. They're playing with this confidence. They're playing with this confidence in their teammates, the way they were running forward. And yeah, some of the disposals were sloppy, yes. Some of the things didn't work out, yes. But they're going for it. And actually, there was a couple of times where I thought they should have even gone even harder. There was a couple of times where Fisher and Cribbs actually back-turned when they should have just ran towards the goal, ran straight for the goal, take them on, especially someone like Fisher. So, man, I'm with you. I'm really, really bullish the way they played that game.
Oh, definitely. And I think for me, one of the things as well is when you actually look at that game as well for Carlton, one thing I've noticed about this side is our kick to handball ratio is getting higher. So last year we were heavy kicking. We were a heavy kicking side. And it looks good to be direct, but it is highly impractical. It's highly impractical. It puts you under a lot of pressure because if you don't mark that ball, you are effectively giving it back. Handball is the safer way. I know the traditionalist hates the handball. It is a kick-mark league, but the top sides play a handball chain. And I was impressed to see them handball chains, particularly seeing Cripper and Fisher link up a lot. Yep. You know, Fisher looking, I know he's been given the nickname now Fish Sticks because he looks a little bit like Steve Kernahan. And
I actually wrote that.
Yeah, and I'm actually excited about seeing that. And there's a real excitement from seeing David Cunningham, who I've been heavily critical of David Cunningham for the last 2 years, that if he doesn't get the ball, what's the point of him being there? Yeah. But I'm starting to see him track back, actually have a bit of defensive pressure, looking like he's part of the defensive group at times. And there was a lot of positives as well that Jack Martin hardly saw the ball, who last year was so instrumental in everything we did. So moving forward, yes, I don't like losing. Was I upset? Not really, because I saw enough to believe that, especially hearing Teague speak, he's hiding something. He didn't strike me as a man that had lost by a couple of goals. He struck me as a man that everything went according to plan. And round 1 is where we will see where we are.
100%. And I agree. I agree wholeheartedly with what you just said there. The way they're playing. And also, like, I'm going to take nothing away from the Saints, but, gee, everything went their way. Like, they marked everything. They scored so accurately at the start, you know what I mean? Like, it was almost a perfect game from them. I mean, 8 goals in that first quarter, you know what I mean? There was 13 goals between the two of us. It was just like, in round 1, there's going to be much more defence in every side that's playing, you know? So, listen, they had almost a perfect game, and we come within a goal with like 5 minutes to go, you know what I mean? So like, I was quite impressed, and there was a couple of people I was impressed with. Naturally, we're going to talk about some of these players, but I'll name some of the other ones, like Pitts. I'm telling you, he's our number 1 ruckman. Forget about TDK. He's a future prospect. And don't get me wrong, he can come into the side and play that second ruck and forward and that. But I'm telling you, Pitts is almost that. He plays that Gawn kind of role, you know. He goes back behind the ball and then he goes forward. That's 2 weeks in a row that he's kicked 2 goals, you know what I mean? So Pitts was really good. You know, Murphy, you know, that new role at the front, you know, that class. now all of a sudden you got people like, you got Sard at the back who's taking control and running that ball with that class, with that finishing. You got Williams in the middle and Walsh, you know, and now you got Murphy with all that experience up the front, you know. So he was another one I was really, really happy with. And Sauce, which we'll talk about too. And Dow didn't have as good as a game as the previous week, but he did continue on. Like, he could have easily just fallen off, but no, he continued on. So I expect big things. Mate, the week before, I thought that Cam, what was his name? Who are the players that we're going to put onto our list? It's either Omac or who else?
Oh, Callum Moore and Oscar McDonald.
The week before, I'm thinking Callum Moore, you know, like we need him. And then this week, I'm thinking, no, it's Omac. He's got to be in there. And he really stepped up. And one thing I just wrote down, I didn't realise he's only 24 years old. So
he's only a baby.
I know. And he looks all right. So he could be a good pickup too. So there was a lot of people, a lot of players who stepped up. And I was really impressed with them.
Well, you see, I was a big fan. Me and Terry covered him in our trade recap as a guy that I would pick as a rookie. And he let me down last week. And I did make a joke to my good demons, mate. And I did say someone needs to hit him over the head and tell him he's Tom McDonald. Carlton must have heard because he played forward. And he was a little bit better than Tom McDonald. So, yeah, I was very impressed with McDonald's game. I think that was fair. I mean, I think when I look at that game, one thing that was my most positive takeout was players are playing behind the ball.
Yep.
And that was probably the difference between St Kilda and Carlton. That Jack Higgins and Dan Butler, they come from Richmond, masters of reading the ball in flight, masters of being the small forward artists. They did that better than us, where at the moment, we're still learning to do that. You can see the fledglings. There was moments where Fisher does it all the time. He doesn't expect the key forward to mark it. Yeah. But some of them players are still in that habit of, if McKay doesn't mark it, if Casbolt, when he's there, doesn't mark it, oh, no. So I feel like that will change as the game will go on, as they play more together, as they really blood this in and have a bit more confidence. I'd also criticise Doc a little bit in the first quarter. He forgot he's not playing with Cade Simpson anymore. He's playing with Adam Sard. Release Sard, because St Kilda are Richmond. They play a high forward press, lock you inside 50, and they don't leave until they get 6 points. And the best way to do that, and you saw it in the second quarter, is give him it in his hand, make him run. Their defenders started to get scared. They had to back away to get time to catch him. And the more Doc remembers, he hasn't got Cade Simpson, an old man. He's got Adam Sard, a fit stallion specimen of a human being, that he's faster than the Flash. I mean, as Muhammad Ali says, he's so quick, he can get back into bed before he switches off the light. Give the ball to Sard in his hands. Please, Doc.
100%, and you're absolutely right. And in that first half, if you look at it, the first quarter, forget about it, like 8 goals to 5. It was just a goal fest. And then we lost Harry, you know, and I thought it took him a little bit of time to adjust to Harry not being there. You know what I mean? They were still bombing it. It just wasn't working. But in the third and fourth quarter, I thought they changed it all. And I'll give you some stats. Just in the third quarter alone, it was 21 to 11 inside 50. So they were getting the ball in there. You know what I mean? The Saints got some easy goals from us, you know, like there was 4 or 5 just that can't happen the way those goals happen, you know. But there were
interesting stat for those at home: 11-4 goals from defensive transitions. So that is how wasteful we were in the forward line.
Yeah, so that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen in the real season, week in, week. That's not going to happen. I'm telling you, they had a really good game, the Saints, you know. I'll give you some other stats, right? Just in clearances, at halftime, it was 17-30, naturally, in the Saints' favour. But then in the second half, it was 35-50. So we evened it up, you know. They just got away from us in the clearances. But Marks inside 50, 8-13, so they were marking, and even in defence they were marking so well, so we got back. But the couple of little stats here that I like, the tackles inside forward 50. Do you know this stat? 15-5 in our favour. That is great. That shows the pressure. And
that's what he wants as well.
And that's exactly what we want, because that is like the Richmond kind of like the formula. They put the pressure on, cause mistakes, we kick goals. And one of the biggest ones for tackles was Fogarty. Fogarty had 7 tackles on the night, man. The bloke is a tackling machine. I'm really impressed with him. And the other one that I liked, and it's not really surprising, bounces. I love this stat. 23-6. So we're willing to carry the ball, run it, bounce the ball, tackle in the forward line. I'm telling you, people, don't be disheartened that we lost. Man, things are looking very, very positively for us.
It is kind of an interesting start for Carlton as well, the bounces, because last year Carlton finished 6th in bounces. So that was one of the big numbers that Bolton to T changed. Carlton's ability to run on. But based on last week, Carlton potentially could finish top 2. And the top 2 sides in the competition with running on from the mark is Tigers and Bombers. And there's no surprise why Bombers are there. Adam Sard was there last year.
And let's quickly talk about that goal, right? When he kicked that goal, right, when he got the handball from, I think it was Dow, and he ran and he kicked it from the 50, I tried to get the chant going. No one was going to follow me. But I tried to do the William running down the wing, and I loved it. I jumped up in the air. That looked amazing, man. I can't wait to see more of that. Actually, he's a bit of a thing for everybody. I want a bit of a challenge. How many goals is Sard going to kick this year? That's a little bit of a a question. How many goals will Sard kick this year?
Are we going to have a little guess on that?
Yeah, let's do it. You know us, man. We're going to bold predictions everywhere. Go for it. That's a question without notice.
7.
That's a good pick. I'm going to say 5.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to check Korea. Let's see if that was a good guess.
I love it.
Okay, well, Adam Sard's most goals in a year is 3.
There you go. But this year...
And my bet is, I'll tell you what, 7's a risk, because he's only ever kicked 8 goals in his career.
Yeah, I know, but he was playing...
So Sard's got to double it. Go, mate.
He was playing for a shit team in Essendon, right? He's playing for us now. So I'm going to say 5. If he gets to 6, if he gets between 5 and 7 goals, we're winning the flag, man. That's my prediction. That's it.
Well, I mean, we'll see. I mean, this is the leading bounce taker in the AFL since 2015 combined. So you're dealing with the real deal, and I think he will get a lot more advanced.
I love it. I love watching him run, man. Every time he got the ball, just the excitement with the Carlton people. It's amazing. The electric vibe in the stadium was amazing every time he touched the ball. I'm telling you, it's the best pickup. I love it.
He's definitely one of them players that is a bum off seat type footballer, and something we crave. Talking about craving, we'll have a look at the player focus and the play of the day from this game. And we said it was a number 1 show, and that is because the guy and recipient of this one is JSOS, another number 1.
Another number 1, mate.
The most famous number 1 probably in Carlton's history, his surname. It's got a lot of lineage, hasn't it? So
bad. Yeah.
Let's take a look at Jackie. He had 17 touches, 6 marks, 4 tackles, 3 goals, 1. And it was a quiet, I thought, half for him. And he was someone that impressed me, because when McKay went down, it was almost like he stuck his hand up and said, you know what, boys, I can do this.
He stood up. He stood up, man. Like really impressive, man. I'm telling you, I was so impressed with. I mean, I've always been impressed with his endeavour. He's willing to want the ball. You know, his love for the side. So yeah, he had a really, and he stepped up. I'm telling you, his spot has to be taken now. He deserves the third. He has to be the third tall now.
Oh, 100%. And if we look at his heat map, one thing I like about Jack is his versatility. He started, I thought it was interesting. He had 3 minutes every quarter at fullback. It was very nice, I thought, to see the camera pan to the stand and see number one at fullback.
Yep.
We haven't seen that for a few years.
No, you haven't. You haven't. There was one other number one who was a pretty good fullback, wasn't he? Who also kicked 200 goals in his career just quietly. So he could play forward too, the old man. But yeah.
Well, I mean, he showed us a bit of that. He did. So, I mean, what I like about Jack, though, and this is why I think for me, under Teague's game plan, there's two players I think are going to be integral from us going from trash to class. And I think one of them is Will Setterfield.
Yes.
And the other one is Jack Silvagni. And I'll tell you for why. If you look at where he gets the ball a lot in that forward 50, edge of 50, outside. That's where he kind of oscillates when he's playing well. Now, we know Will Setterfield is doing the same. Flip the image down back. He is that kick out. He's playing that defensive wing role, the first kick. This guy is the last kick. Now, Jack Silvagni in 2019 averaged 81.8% of kicks inside 50 resulted in a scoring opportunity. He is the best in our team, but also in the league.
Wow.
At it.
That's a good stat, man.
I think he's dangerous. I think he's dangerous, and I like him.
You kept that stat from me. That's a bloody good stat, that one there. I didn't realise the best in the league. Jesus Christ. Like, I was just thinking, he's a good player, and he done really well. That is good. That is good. And you're right about Setterfield too, man. He's really improved, and he's taking control of the back there, being that loose backman, wing kind of player. And if you look at his, I'm just looking here, he takes a lot of his possessions within 25, 30 metres of the goal, which is important, you know what I mean, which is dangerous, you know. So, and he tackles, you know, he done 4 tackles, and he took 2 of his marks, were the one in that where he kicked the goal, but the one in the wing. Do you remember the one in the wing? That was awesome, man. I jumped up. I said, the boy has arrived, man. As soon as he took that mark, the boy has arrived. So, yeah.
He's got an uncanny ability. And I think, like, you look at a lot of them touches as well. You talked about inside forward 50. 6 out of the 8 are handballs, which is so important because Jack has pure selflessness. He always does the team thing. Like, I noticed, if you actually, and we'll watch the footage here, and that was the play of the day. And that is him kicking, obviously, for goal, as we know. That was a great moment for Carlton Football Club, him scoring. We love a Silvagni goal. And it was Carlton through and through. We attack the corridor when we go. But what I love about Jack is when he takes the mark, he never puts his back to the target. He's always looking. Is there someone over the mark that's a better option? There's a few players we've got that do that. They take the mark. They turn the back like this, and I'm screaming at the telly going, I don't trust you to kick this.
That's it.
Kick it 30 metres forward. But Jack does the team thing, and I think Jack has got to look at Tom Hawkins this year and think, Hawkins, don't look at his goals, look at his assists. Because I think Hawkins last year, his goal assists were way more important. And a lot of them come from dinky kicks inside 50. Him going, right, I'm 40 out. You know what? I'll pop it to Myers on the goal square. And that is where I think Jack is going to be worth his weight in gold for this football club.
100%. Man, I love Jack. I've always loved him, man. And he carries a weight on his shoulders that no one can even ever understand, I don't think, because to have Serge and then Stephen and then himself and all the pressure he's got, and to do what he does, man, I love the kid, and you could see he loves the team, man. Seriously, if everyone plays like Sauce, man, we'd win 8 out of the next 10 premierships, you know. So
I've got to say, one of the nicest guys at the football club. I had the honour of meeting Jack at the BNF a couple of years ago. A good friend of mine is a lifelong fan of him, and he went out of his way. He did accommodate her, look out for her, take photos with her. I'm a huge fan of Jack as a human being. He personifies to me what it means to be about this football club, and 100%. I think he is it to me. Absolute brilliant kid.
That's it. We love Jack, man. Keep going. And definitely, I've seen the question during the week, is he in our best 22 for round 1? Mate, you better just pencil him in straight away. I
think last week he did cement his spot, I think, in the best 22. I think it'll be hard now for him to go out there.
Yep, 100%.
And a big shout out to Lana Owens. That was who I was talking about. My lovely fan out there. I know she's a huge JSOS, and I know she'll be cheering at the TV because we've bigged up her boy. It's her favourite player is Jack.
Yes, and I think he's going to become a lot of people's favourite boy by the end of the year. When he lifts that trophy up, let's go, boys, go.
Do it, Jack. Do it for the boys. Jack. And talking about favourites, it's the 19th person.
Yeah, this one's a big one this week. So,
well, I mean, sport, I think, I always think sport is a little bit like having kids, right? And I'll tell you for why. Because when you watch the sport, like last night, Rangers, I rang a lifelong mate of mine. Big shout out to you, John. We were on Discord, and we actually broke down in tears. 2 full-grown, middle-aged men, you know, big, tough boys, you know. And we the release of emotion of finally winning it was just intense.
Yeah.
And this guy, who we're going to talk about today, did the same thing. And sometimes people think when we do this, we just talk shit on the camera. It's a fairly easy gig. It is. But I sometimes forget that people listen to us.
Yeah,
people like it.
I'm still shocked.
Yeah, like Jesus. Like my wife tries to kick me out here all the time. And the 19th person I'm going to give it to is Toby Crook. Toby Crook, he was on the Blue Abroad fan cams the other day, and he not only gave you and me a shout out, which does go a long way to getting nominated, I have to say.
True, so everyone think about that, yeah.
But a wonderful thing about Toby is he's got a disability, and I would actually say he was probably one of the wisest people I've ever seen, because he said the thing that makes him happy about this team is they're playing with passion and pride for the Guernsey. And he actually made me cry a bit. I don't mind admit, because he loves it. He loves the club. And yeah, Toby, if you're watching this, mate, I can't wait to catch up with you. Round 1, I'll buy you a beer, a Coca-Cola. You know what? Poms don't put their hand in the pocket. I'll even throw in a pie, and I will be honoured to share a meat pie with you, my friend.
100%. Yeah, that was, as I said, all our fans and all our 19 men, they're all special. But what he did the other night was fantastic, man. You're a legend, man. We were just talking about Sauce being a legend. You're a legend in the fans, man. The way you made your little speech at the end, I'm telling you, we're all emotional because we talked about it later on. It was really amazing. And Toby really emphasizes what we're all about. This is what about people. I've said this before. People go, oh, you know, like, oh, you follow sport, but it's more than a game, mate. It means a lot. And to some people, it means everything. Not everybody's got things in their life or people or family on that. And, you know, and this is what brings them together. They watch the show. So it makes us happy. That some people puts a smile on their face. But Toby, seriously, you are a great 19th man. This is what it's all about, man. I'm proud to say that you are a legend of the 19th man. When we do the legend of the 19th man, you're going to go up there, the first one.
Oh, definitely. I reckon we might have found fullback of the century in the 19th man world.
There you go. There you go.
Well
so
done,
everybody,
Toby,
we've just come up with a new thing. We're going to come up with the team of the century of 19th men.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've only got, 80 years, 79 years that we've got to survive. So, I mean, that takes me to 105?
Easy. I
can guarantee you now, I will not be around. I'm going to throw that out there. You're going to have to find another co-host if you think you're going to live that long.
Sometimes I don't think I'm going to make it 5 years, let alone another 85 years.
I'll be long gone by then, I tell you. Long gone. So, we've got a new segment this week, and I've been thinking what to call it, and I've just changed the name then. We're going to call it Pommy's Ponderings.
I like it.
And what we're going to talk about this week is we're going to judge as the weeks go on how confident I am. So I'm going to make a pledge to everyone. I'm not going to get angry. I'm not going to get pissed off with this team until it's mathematically impossible for them to win finals. So that is my pledge. We'll see how that goes, because I did make a pledge on my live stream the other day that it's only a practice game. I won't get bothered. And by 3/4 time, I was stood up swearing at the umpires and screaming at the TV and getting told by my wife to shut up because the kids were in bed. So we know Pommy pledges are probably worth not much, but I want to talk about getting behind the boys. And me and Rocco talked off air. It was a heated discussion.
Yeah.
And I want to say, we're talking about Zach Williams. We know he's gone down, and I know Carlton fans are going to be upset. I know you are. But I see it as a sign of fear. If I was Richmond and I saw Carlton going, oh, this is cheating, this is unfair, I'd be like, they're scared of me. They're scared of my team. And I know what I'm like when I see, oh, Fife's got a hip injury. That's Fremantle telling me they're scared. So one thing is, I want to put out there a positive environment. How can we expect Paddy Dow or Lockie O'Brien or whoever it is who David Teague says you're playing the Zach Williams role, and I think it might be Dow. I think he'll be entrusted. How is he going to be expected to perform if we don't believe in him? Because we've got to change our mentality. If we expect them to change their results, we have to change our mentality. And that is, okay, Williams is out. I actually think that's a good thing, and I'll tell you for why. If he's going to run round and hit people in the head to get the ball, imagine how hungry he's going to be round 2 against Collingwood. He's the type of person who takes it serious. He's going to give us 30 touches. I'm not worried about Zach, but I'm not worried about Paddy Dow, because Teague's told me we're playing finals. Cripper's bored me to tears telling me he loves the club and he's going to play finals. Mark Lagudashay has said finals. Everyone who's Carlton has said finals. They've promised me finals as far as I can see. And if they believe it, I believe it. So this week, train hard, Paddy Dow. I'll be backing you in, son. I'll wear my number 2 with pride.
I love it. I do like it. And we did have this discussion, and I do agree with you. And you're right. If we're not confident, how can the team be confident? If we're talking about Williams, are we saying that we can't do it without Williams? You know what I mean? And we shouldn't be thinking like that. My only thing about that was, and we had this discussion, was, are the team at that stage where they have that belief 100%? Now, I know that the coach has said it. We're trying to believe it, but we're just inches away of just being shot out in the wrong direction, you know? So I think we're almost there. We're almost there, but I don't want to be like a meteorite, just being shot off in the wrong direction. I'm sometimes a little bit worried that you know what I mean, that we're going to be like just an inch off of just falling over, you know. But in saying that, I agree with you 100%. We all have to be confident that we can do this, and one player isn't gonna, you know, like win us the game. Like you said, Williams isn't gonna win us the game off his own boot. You know what I mean? So, look, I'm with you, mate. I'm with you.
Good teams. Remember, it's teams that win flags, not one player. And I am confident. Have to be confident. And I pledge everyone out there, just get behind them, see what happens. We had this discussion at Rangers 2 years ago. Just drop the bollocks, drop it used to happen, drop all that nonsense, drop last year they let me down. Remove that out of the vocabulary and be like, it's this year. It's this year. They've got the back. That is my Pommy pledge. I will back these boys in vehemently, and I'll only be constructive until it's mathematically wrong. And then if it is mathematically out of the equation, probably be a different story. I'll probably get arrested. But I am backing them in. Get on the train.
I'm going to be right behind you, man. I'm backing them in too. I've been backing them in for ages, man. I think we can do this. And you're absolutely right, man. Everyone's got to get behind them. We can do this. Don't let Richmond like even think that we're scared, man. We're not scared of them. We're out to take everything now, man. And one player, we should be the player. One player steps down, the next player just steps into that position. And you're absolutely right, mate.
Well, I mean, we've had my say. Rocco's rant. What have you got for me this week?
All right, Rocco's rant. Mate, I could be talking rants all day, man. Like, it's just like everything annoys me sometimes. But I'm going to do 2 little rants. How's this sound? 2 little rants.
I like mini rants.
All right, here we go. The first rant, and this person sent a message, and it was Tracy Reed, right? So I'm going to give out.
All right, Tracy, big fan of Tracy. I chat to her on the private. Her and my wife got on.
Tracy said about Ticketmaster. Last Thursday, right? We got a game going on. They go to us, when was it? On the Monday. They go, you know, all members can get their tickets early. And all morning, the whole system was stuffed. No one could get their tickets. It took ages. I know people that were on there for hours. We didn't have our barcodes. It's ridiculous. Ticketmaster, mate, you got one job. It's in your description. Ticketmaster. That's what you do. That's all you do. Tickets. I don't ask you to cook my food. I just ask you to get me my tickets. And you can't even do that right. And then they start blaming everybody. Mate, just get it right. And you've had like 12 months. There were no events. What are you doing? Fix the system. How can you not supply tickets? All right, so that's the first rant. Ticketmaster. Anyway, don't worry about you. The second one is, we said we were talking about the number ones. Let's talk about the former number one, Sauce. Your son kicks a goal, right? Your son kicks a goal, mate. Look excited. What has happened to you? Why are you so upset in life? What is going on? You just look like a miserable old man there. You got this beautiful wife sitting next to you. Your son, who's doing so well, kicks a goal. She has to nudge you. Don't you know that if the wind changes, your face will remain like this? Stop being such a sourpuss. What's happened to you, mate? Get excited. Enjoy life, mate. You're at the back end of your life, man. How old is he now? Like 55? How many years has he got left? About 30? Don't be a miserable, bloody sourpuss for the next 30 years, man. What are you doing, man? Smile. Come on. You were fullback at the Century. Your son's doing well. You got a beautiful family, man. Come on, Sauce. Come on. They're my rants for the day.
I love them. I will defend Sauce, and I don't usually defend Sauce. I just think it might be Sauce's way. I just think he might be, you know, my pop was like that. Like, he'd give me, like, you know, in the car after, like, doing well at maybe a golf tournament, be like, oh, you did well today, son. And that would be it. But that was, like, the equivalent of my nana. Like, I could hear her shriek when I held like a 20-foot putt for birdie. I could still hear her talking about it 2 holes later. So I got that vibe. I don't think he's miserable. I just think even when you watch him as a player, he looks quite emotions in checked, quite kind of guy.
Yeah, but it's your son, mate. Like, it's your kids, you know? Like, your kid, you should just be happy. The poor kid goes through enough, man. The pressure this kid's got on his shoulders, you know what I mean? He goes out there, he gives it his all. Last year, there was this whole thing about his brother and then about Sauce getting the sack and he stood up, you know? Like, just be happy, man. Come on, sit back and enjoy the footy, mate. Like, relax. Look, I know what you're saying. He's probably not that tight, but, man, at least smile. Like, he didn't even smile.
My wife, when she watched the footage back, had a suggestion that their body language struck him as they'd had a fallout on the way there. Because she says, I do that if I fall out with Zoe and then we go to a kid thing and you obviously can't argue at the kid thing, but I'm still pissed off. Like, she'll get involved with the kids, but I have evidently the same mannerisms of, yeah, okay, yeah, well done, Zoe. He's done something. Wow.
Everyone look back at the footage, man. That could be, but they were kind of like, they were like.
Well, he's like this. He's like this, like sat away from her, which I do as well. So, I mean, maybe she was doing his head in or something, or he'd done something wrong. We know what it's like. Me and my wife, we don't argue for very long, but when we do, it usually looks quite bad.
That's a good point. That's a good point. All right, we'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
I mean, to be fair, if it was David or Zane, when they get drafted for Carlton, you'll know when they kick a goal, which is my son, because I'll probably take my clothes off and streak through the middle of the freaking ground.
And if your son kicks a goal, I'm taking my clothes off and streak it. Like, I'm gonna pump it.
I'll run on and hug him. Do you know what I mean? I'll be so proud of him.
That's it. So,
I mean, try telling me in a Carlton forum it's a practice game when he kicks his first snag.
Oh, yeah.
I dare you.
Huge. It's going to be huge. I love it. That's it.
Well, that's all we got time for this week. We'll be back next week. Next week, we have the privilege that there is no boys game. So it'll just be the girls, and we'll take you through the build-up.
Yeah, it's going to be
versus the hated Tigers.
Well, it's going to be a huge build-up, yeah. So next week's going to be the week before the big game, you know. So it's going to be, well, yeah, next week. What are we now? Oh, mate, it's not long, is it? What is it, 9 days or something?
Yeah, well, I mean, this time next week, I mean, the week after that, we get to see how Pommy's pledge is going.
Yeah. So we'll see how we go, yeah. So it's going to be huge. Look, from now onwards, it's going to be huge, man. All the shows are going to be huge, man. Like, be Carlton just through and through for the next, what is it, like 6 months, and then we're going to have to do shows about the premiership, like how we won the premiership and that. It's going to be huge the next 5 or 6 months.
Well, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. Well, thank you very much for those who got this far and stay tuned. We'll see you next week. Go Blues.
See you guys.